But I'm looking today a little bit at discussing a little bit with Mike over here. Some stuff that we don't normally do, because people say to me, like, you know, sometimes, Mike, with these videos, what do you think about other things like mysteries? What do you think about mysteries that are not explained, like things like Loch Ness Monster and UFOs and aliens and that stuff? As a magician, what do you think about that kind of stuff? Seriously, what do you think that's real or fake? So we'll have a look now through the eyes of me and Mike as a magician. As magicians, okay, illusionists. Magicians. And what we say about certain things that are mysteries that aren't really solved, and how do they look through the eyes of a magician, okay? Would these mysteries look through the eyes of a magician? So can magicians solve mysteries? Can magicians, illusionists solve mysteries? You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. And for years and years, that's 40 years or so of doing this sort of magic stuff since I was about 10 years old. I've always been fascinated by mysteries, Loch Ness Monster, that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Whether they're real or fake. And as magicians, you can often see if they're real or fake sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes you can see if they're real or fake. So chat now with me and Mike on next 20 minutes. So we'll have a chat about certain extraordinary mysteries and slightly controversial mysteries and that kind of stuff through the eyes of magicians. Okay, Mike? Yeah, let's do this. Let's give us a video, a quick go, guys. Through the eyes of a magician, it's called. Okay, let's log this video. Here we're going to go, guys. So how you doing, Mike? You okay, Mikey?
Definitely, Mikey.
Very well. How are you, Mike? Very indeed. I'm down here.
As I say, lovely Essex.
As I say, two brains. Two voices, two minds and magic, guys. Looking at stuff seriously over here, guys. But the point with these videos is when I look through the eyes of a magician and see what we think about certain mysteries that are not really solved, okay, certain weird mysteries and that sort of stuff, and see whether, as a magician illusionist, you can have different, you know, perspectives on these things, whether these things are real or fake. And often magicians can see where trickery is going on, or how maybe people are seeing fake things and believe they're real, you know what I mean? Like, for example, what does a magician think about, or a UFO, or ghosts, or that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Or Loch Ness Monster, you know what I mean? Or moon landings,
Loch Ness Monster.
So let's start off, have a look now quickly at the first. Well, I've got a couple of things. We're going to discuss quickly over here great mystery, of course, of all time, which, of course, and the one that everyone loves, of course, is ghosts. And people have seen a lot of ghosts over the years, don't they? I've seen a ghost.
Yes.
I've seen ghosts. Hey, Mike, what do you think about ghosts?
Yes,
Mike?
definitely ghosts,
isn't it? Ghosts are very fascinating, of course, aren't the ghosts? What an age-old thing, and of course goes back thousands of years, isn't it? And prehistoric times, of course. But as I say, I was actually in a hotel a few weeks ago, actually, down in Oxfordshire, in England, and it was called the Roxton House. And I was actually in the middle of the night. I was with my other half, and in the middle of the night, I felt like someone touched my side and grabbed my hand. I don't know whether that was real or not. You know what I mean? It was really weird. Like,
oh my gosh,
I thought there was a ghost in the room. Okay. And it was like, really so strong, it woke me up, you know what I mean? And it's really interesting. It's amazing, isn't it, like that sort of stuff, isn't it? People actually see ghosts in the room, isn't it? And also,
it's amazing to say, it's very strange.
I've seen extraordinary stories over the years, I mean, of people in haunted houses, and all these videos and films of people going around, like Urban X, going all these buildings and hear noises in, you know, old ruined buildings, and heard noises and bangs and doors opening and shutting and this sort of stuff. But is it real, or is it fake? I mean, you know, there's a bloke actually who was, I think, driving up in Northamptonshire in England, and he stopped his car at the lights, and somebody got at the back of the car. He drove off, the guy was at the back of the car. He turned around, the bloke had disappeared, you know what I mean? There's no one in the car. I mean, how does this happen? There's also a Bluebell Hill, of course, in England as well. Bluebell Hill, which is down in Kent.
Oh, yes.
In England, a famous place in Kent, Bluebell Hill. And again, there's a lady apparently who hangs about on Bluebell Hill, and I think someone literally ran into her, and she disappeared in thin air. This is down in Kent. There's also stuff like this, isn't it, Mike, isn't it?
Spooky, isn't it?
Very spooky stuff, isn't it, of course, isn't it? And it goes on and on. I mean, the story's endless. But this
ghost of Bluebell Hill.
There's thousands of stories around the world. And there's thousands, lots of photographs. What do you think about do you believe or not believe it, Mike? What do you think, psychological? I believe it. Okay, I believe it in many ways, and I don't really believe it's morals. I think it's really psychological, don't you? I think people just. I think people's, you know, as magicians, I think people's minds play tricks, don't they? As I say, they play tricks, don't they? And people, I think they see things like, for example, they hear like a creaking tree or something, and suddenly, or a creaking door in the wind, and that kind of the brain. It plays in the brain, doesn't it? Okay, it plays in the mind, of course. The person believes it's a ghost, don't they? That kind of stuff. As I say, and I think sometimes things like, for example, I think things moving around.
Must be thousands of pictures says.
Poltergeist. It's very strange. To be honest, there's not many photographs, is there? One of the things about this, I mean, I kind of believe. He doesn't believe. I kind of believe. But you know what? I mean, you would think there'd be more photographs, wouldn't you, of ghosts? And there are. There's
more photographs?
So many really good pictures of ghosts, aren't there? So many really good photos. But you think there were so many ghosts about the place? Why there not a million photographs? There's only millions, shouldn't there? There's only so many famous really good ones. I mean, anyway, if people do see stuff, I mean, it's interesting stuff from videotapers they've got captured. It is really interesting area, isn't it? And I mean, interesting, isn't it? It's real. I mean, it must be
very fascinating.
Is it things in different dimensions coming through into our dimension? Is it subatomic particles? Is it quantum mechanics going on that causing people from other zones to come into our zone? Fascinating areas to say, isn't it? You know what I mean? Even in my case, I remember I was in hospital. Last year, I was in the hospital bed, actually, seriously, and the cup moved next to me, moved back and forth next to me. It really, really did, and I thought some freaky cup. There's nobody there, and that's a true story. So, but things do move around, don't they? You know what I mean? But I mean, certainly it could be psychological. It could be your mind.
Was the table wet, Mike?
Certainly, it's a big area, isn't it? I must admit,
it's a big area.
I think on the positive side, the amount of evidence is a lot. The amount of films. Pictures is a lot, and there's an awful lot of pictures and a lot of films of it, so maybe it's real. It's certainly very interesting, isn't it? And many people do.
Very interesting, but is it real?
Around the world overall, and so I mean that's what I would say. I would vote that probably is real. You think it's not real, Mike? What would you say it's not real?
I think it's psychological. I think it's probably psychological, probably in the whole. You know what I mean? I'm not sure people come up with the dead. Do you? It's very interesting, as I say. People have been fascinated for centuries about haven't they, of course? But there's still no real evidence, completely, isn't it? Even all these years and all these photographs. But I think there's not many photographs that are really brilliant. A lot of them are a bit dodgy, aren't they? There's some good photographs out there. I think it's real.
It's not real, but it's interesting stuff about it, isn't it? Whether it's real or not. I think there's a lot of evidence out there, and they can make a whole another hour, 2 hour video just on this area. It's very good. Next up on the list of things is Loch Ness Monster, of course. Monsters, you know, monsters. And there's famous a lot of lakes around the world with monsters in them. Okeechobee in North America, Loch Ness Monster, of course, as you know, Nessie in Scotland, of course, famous Nessie, up the Nessie. Okay, I've been up there myself. I've been there for 4 years ago myself. When I was a kid to Loch Ness, didn't see the monster, didn't see anything. But Loch Ness Monster, one of the world's biggest mysteries, of course, is already a monster living in the lake there. On the positive side again of this one, I've been there. I did actually sit on a hill. I remember sitting on a hill looking over the loch when I was about 1986. I remember seeing a little dot on the loch and thinking, the dot on the loch, and the dot looked so far away, it looked like someone was swimming in the water, but it maybe just was a bird, I don't know. It's a very interesting mystery, isn't it, of course, isn't it? And I've been to the famous Drummadrochit Museum in Drummadrochit, which is on the shores of Loch Ness, and that is a museum. And literally, I mean, 200 photographs of apparently of the so-called Loch Ness Monster. It's really good, okay. But, is it all a load of honkum bunkum? Is it a load of money spinning, eh, Mike? Is it
could be money spinning, couldn't it? A lot of money in it, certainly.
So what do you think about
There's a lot of money in Loch Ness Monster, isn't there?
You don't believe in it. What's the evidence you don't believe in it? I don't really believe it. I think, as I say, the loch is. The problem with the thing is, the loch isn't. Loch's only 9,000 years old, isn't it? Or something. They made the last end of the ice age, wasn't 9,000 years ago, before the Holocene began, which is the last 9,000 years. And of course, I think the dinosaurs. If it was a dinosaur, it must be a dinosaur, mustn't it? If it's a dinosaur, they've been extinct about 90 million years ago, haven't they? So it couldn't be a dinosaur. So it's got to be fish, isn't it? Probably fish or something like that, isn't it? Probably fish. Probably something like eels or something like that. Probably or catfish or something, isn't it? That kind of stuff. Maybe dolphins. Maybe not dolphins, but that, isn't it? I mean, there's no
seals.
It's very interesting things to talk about.
Maybe seals.
Everyone loves lots of monsters. It's a lot of money. On the pro side of it, of course, is say people have seen it. I mean, a lot of people have seen it visually. Again, like the ghost thing. Again, why are there not more photographs of it? There's not many photographs of it. The photographs aren't very good of it, are they? Particularly, if you say, there's
not great photographs
of the so-called monster. The eyewitness accounts are going back about 100 years. Even the monster getting out of the water. One of the accounts, the monster gets out of the water and walks around, gets back in the water again. It's like the size of a dinosaur. Again, this has never been quantified. This is never qualified by anybody, really. There's not many decent photographs, not many decent films. And so it is. I'm getting convinced that, I'm getting on the side with you. It doesn't exist, on the point that there's not many real decent visual evidence of it, really. The films that are out and about are very, very old, and often there's ripples in the water, aren't there? Ripples in the water. That obviously is about ripples. And I know from certain angles, well, there's a castle, Urquhart Castle there, actually on the big lake there, of course, on the loch, and there's a film of ripples going past the castle, but the ripples do look like the waves, bumps of of what look like a long serpent, but they're just waves. It's just a sort of visual effect. It's just nothing more than that. But again, the brain, like ghost again, brain plays tricks, doesn't it? As a magician, illusionist, you know,
Psychological, Mike.
Tricks, misdirection,
Psychological,
dreaming of things. So I think one of the problems is people do want to believe in mysteries, don't they, Mike? They want to believe in.
They want to believe in it. They want to believe, don't they?
Don't exist, or could say, Loch Ness Monster doesn't exist, but they want to believe. They just want to believe, and because they want to believe, they go to Loch Ness. They want to believe. They want to imagine it's there. They want to believe. Stories in their mind.
Simple as that.
So I think this kind of goes on psychologically. People love a story, don't they? Particularly Scottish people love a story. So I would agree.
Well, again, the Scots
love a story, isn't it? In terms of
story,
evidence isn't great. The visual evidence isn't great, really great. A lot of them, the moving objects in the water, are a long way away from camera. The film's very old. But a lot of people, again, on the positive side, again, a lot of people still do see, they still say they see it. You know, they have seen it even recently, despite having mobile phones, they can't record it. Hey, Mike.
There's not many mobile phone footage, is there?
So,
is there, Mike? Is there really?
It's really a fascinating little story, isn't it? But I think we're a long way from really knowing. I think obviously the loch is huge, but they say can lose population of planet Earth 3 times in it and lose all of them. That's the population of the whole planet. 3 times over, lose them all in Loch Ness. It's so big. There's room for many mysteries, but you know, life can't exist too deep down the water because it's so dark down there. You know what I mean? I've done ecological geography, and I know that, you know, life can't live way down deep, you know, in the loch. It's impossible. You know, would have to be submerged. If it's certainly a mammal or something, it would have to be submerged an awful lot. Would have to, if it lungs and breathing, would have to come to the surface a lot, and it can't do that. It's often not on the surface. If it is there, it's lurking deep down. But
yeah, exactly.
There's no light down there. It's, you know, there's lack of food down there. It'd be hard for it to live under the surface the whole time if it's you know, a reptile type of thing. I mean, probably a catfish. It probably is some sort of fish that is being seen. So they think that they see a catfish and it's the monster, isn't it? Straight away. I mean, they just imagine it. Isn't it? It could be other things as well. There's so many explanations for what it could be. Other things being seen in the water.
Seals.
I know also a lot of people have made fakies. I think the most famous picture was the surgeon's photograph in the 1930s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Called The Surgeon. He came up to Loch Ness with a fake plastic model of it and floated it on the lake and actually photographed it and got published in all the papers. The Daily Mail published it, and it looked really convincing. But it was a brilliant picture of the Loch Ness Monster. But it was genuinely, unfortunately, the surgeon's pictures are fake. So again, doesn't help the cause, is it? So, but yeah, I mean, obviously the big question, of course, is, you know, being the dinosaur. Of course, it was formed in the last ice age, end of the last ice age, is 9,000 years ago. Remember, the last ice age was 9,000 years ago when it finished. We're still coming out right now in the Holocene, coming out of it now in the Holocene right now. We're coming out of the last ice age 9,000 years ago, and so, you know.
Can't be a dinosaur, can it? There's no way it's a dinosaur.
I mean, let's go to 130, 440 million years ago. The loch's been formed 9,000 years ago, so obviously it can't be a dinosaur. It can't be.
It's not a dinosaur. No way.
To pretend dinosaurs are living around today. They're not living today. So the dinosaur theory is out, isn't it?
Dinosaurs are out. It's not a dinosaur.
Anyway, it's
a seal.
Probably people seeing catfishes and other fishes, that kind of stuff in the water. Probably that kind of stuff. I think it's that kind of thing, and probably waves, probably people doing pranks, people making it up. Do you know what I mean? But hopefully, I hope it does exist. He don't believe. I think it may exist, but I don't. I'm still not convinced. I'm not convinced either. Myself, as a teenager, and still 4 years later, no concrete evidence. Operation Deep Scan, like late 1980s, scanned the whole loch. They found hardly any solid data. There's blobs and things deep down, but no solid data again. And it's just frustrating, isn't it? Just frustrating because it goes on year after year. But it produces movies, films, books, and sells movies, films, books, and souvenirs in Loch Ness, and it draws tourists. Loch Ness, there's a lot of money in the economy in it, Mike. Economically, a lot of the economy, certainly a lot of books are sold and films are sold. Aren't they from it? Do you know what I mean? But this economy doesn't this kind of stuff, isn't it? But there you are. We all love a mystery, don't we?
Yeah, it's a mystery that still hasn't
got
solved.
Anyway, it's a fascinating thing. Go to Loch Ness yourself in Scotland, the very northern Scotland, beautiful Inverness.
As a magician.
Drummer Drockett and Saint Augustus.
Saint Augustus.
Fort Augustus, isn't that's what it's called? Fort William, isn't it?
Fort Augustus.
Enjoy the scenery. But if you go to Loch Ness, it's huge. It's miles long. It's deeper than North Sea. That's the reason why it is so deep. It does support fresh fish life, as I say, and it is freshwater, isn't it, as well, which is good.
And
it's fresh water,
it's
lake.
an impressive place. But it's also beautiful, mysterious place. And it does have the atmosphere, Mike, the atmosphere, Mike. The atmosphere, yes, fantastic. The atmosphere is just a mysterious atmosphere to it, isn't it? So I'm not going to atmosphere makes mystery, but I would love it to exist. But I think so would I. 4 years since I last went, that we still have got an after Operation Deep Scan, and by the way, there's a guy who lives in the lake, isn't there, Mike? He lives in the lake. Has he ever
there is a guy who lives
in
in the lake, doesn't he?
He's lived there since 1992, hasn't he? He lived for 30 or 35 years. He has never seen. I think he's seen it once, hasn't he? He's seen it once.
He's lived there 20,
once about 30 years ago. He got it once only. He's only seen it once, hasn't he? He says he saw it once. Seen it once. He has a camera trained on the lake the whole time, didn't he? He does on the lake the whole time.
Oh, I don't know.
And one sighting only. Anyway, one day we will find out when they get the technology to make it completely transparent. Then we'll know, and also the oceans more transparent, as Arthur C. Clarke said. Make the oceans transparent. We'll see where the monsters are. So that's that. We're going to other sea monsters. There's many lakes around the world and with many monsters in them.
Many lakes and monsters,
and there's many lakes.
Yeah,
and they have a fantasy monster in them, and it sells boat trips and sells the rest of it. People come to see the fantasy monster, and Loch Ness is just one of them in a way. But I love it. We all love it, don't we? So true or fake?
We all love it. It's a lovely story.
It's not real.
It?
I think it's probably not real, but true or fake, it's fantastic fun, isn't it? That's what I can say. And good for kids, good for movies. Okay. Right, next to okay, this is a big one. Okay, this is the one as well. This is, of course, this is a lot of people. This is a turn into mystery because the moon landings. And this is not. This is all totally arbitrary. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. You don't also have to agree with me, with us about it. And it's totally. This is just for entertainment and fun. I'm not gonna make any judgments, and I don't know. But the moon landings, of course, greatest event of the 20th century, 1969. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins landed on the moon, and it always rattles around my mind ever since I was a little kid, 5-year-old kid. After it happened, I was about 5 years after it happened. I was about 5. I remember hearing about it. It went on to be the biggest legend of the 20th century, and a lot of people believe it. A lot of people don't believe it. Hey, Mike, do they? Don't believe it.
Yeah, don't believe it, do they?
And they say, but now in 2025, some like 49% of Americans don't believe in it. They don't believe. It's almost
that's true. They say that, don't they?
Don't believe it's real. I think 25% of Europeans don't believe it's real, and so on and so forth. But why is that? Why would we not believe the moon landings is real? I mean, there's people
why
out
not
on
believe
Facebook,
it's real,
YouTube, making videos saying it's real, every day of the week. People arguing
as a magician
on Facebook, fighting day in day out. Oh, it's real, it's fake, it's real, it's fake, all the time. Endless discussions. Is it real? Is it fake?
Endless arguments about it, aren't there? Endless arguments about it, Mike.
I mean, Mike, you think it's fake? I think it's real. I think it really happened in 1969. I think they really flew to the moon. I think there was 4,000 people involved in it. How could they keep the secret? NASA was funded exponentially, wasn't it, Mike, by the US government in the 1960s. Kennedy's dream in 1962, was it? To get there by 69, it had to be achieved to beat the Russians and get there by 1969. They did all that. They did get there.
Beat the Russians.
But
it was,
the Russians never went ever, and it's interesting.
They never went there,
and we haven't been back.
Never went there.
I think there's about 6 missions, in which the last was 1972, middle of 1972. They haven't been back since ever. Never been back since.
Never been back.
Space shuttle missions flew in the 70s and 80s, but they go very low. They just go orbit around the Earth, a few miles up, don't they? 20 miles up around the Earth. They don't go the 237,000 miles out of deeper space to the moon. So no one's been back there. No human's been back there since 1972, apparently. They've even had a buggy, didn't they, on the moon? They built a buggy and took it up there, and the buggy drove the buggy around the moon's surface. They might, didn't they?
Moon buggy,
these things they did, didn't they? Rock samples to science experiments, and pretty extraordinary. That hasn't happened since 1972, isn't it? It never happened since 1972, Mikey. What do you think? So
never since 1972.
It must have happened because it's the biggest event of the century. They wouldn't fake it. But as a magician, what do you think with the magician's mind? What do you think about it, Mike? I think they wouldn't have thought it faked it, but as I say, I'm cynical. I mean, I'm cynical a bit, to be honest about it. I do still think it's odd. It's been 53 years. No one's been back at all. No one back at all since then. They sent robots back over there, but no one's back at all since then, of course. And it's interesting, isn't it? There's many arguments of going through Van Allen belts radiation. They said that's impossible, didn't they, of course? And they can't go through his belts, but apparently they did go through his belts. Without putting animals through them first. They sent humans through them first. So that's interesting. And also the temperature of the moon, 230 degrees centigrade, really boiling hot, so you couldn't be on there so much. And also so hot would melt the photographs, melt the Kodak films and that kind of stuff as well. They say as well, don't they? These sort of things. And also say stuff like that. You also say that they went into space and went around the Earth, didn't they? Orbit, and then they've actually went there. They just filmed it on a soundstage, of course, didn't they? It wasn't done for real. It was filmed on the soundstage or in the Arizona desert or something. That kind of stuff. So don't they? These sort of myths and things. Say, but it's not impossible.
I want to know. People
were
saying, the Van Allen belts thing was a big thing, wasn't it? Van Allen belts, big radiation belts. NASA said that they managed to prevent the Van Allen belts. That's how they did it to get to the moon. If they went through the Van Allen belts, they could be fried with radiation. That's correct, isn't it? Well, I think it's interesting about it all is, I mean, obviously, it wasn't until the internet came out in mid-2000s, almost 25 years later, that people got to see all the footage, all the photographs much more, didn't they? Before that, there was official documentation. And then the internet released all this stuff, and so people got to see more. And when they got to see more pics and films, they began to get cynical, didn't they? They began cynical about it, believe it didn't really happen. And they began to get cynical about 20 years ago, didn't they? They didn't believe in it. Obviously, many scientists. I mean, not me. I'm not me, because I think it happened. But many scientists didn't think it happened. They actually got on the internet and said, no, it didn't happen. It's impossible. Van Allen belt's interesting. What was interesting, I would say about it, is why send human beings into space to the moon in early 69, before the moon landing in July 69, early 69, they sent, didn't they, a crew up there to go around the moon and then back again. They didn't land on the moon. They just sent them into deeper space. But they did send people into deeper space 250,000 miles away, didn't they, without checking for radiation. They literally sent humans straight up there through what could be dangerous radiation. They just did it, didn't they? Yeah, they just sent them up. They didn't send any animals, like monkeys or dogs or cats up there. They just sent humans straight into deeper space through that radiation. So humans, they did put humans at risk, very much so, because they could not, maybe not been burnt by radiation or killed by radiation. It's very difficult to say. It's interesting that they did put them into deeper space without really checking beforehand if humans could tolerate or the risks of higher radiation exposure on the moon or flying to the moon. Interesting, isn't it? Particularly the craft. People would say the craft wasn't really designed to fend off radiation. I know recently NASA said in a recent, I think Tim Peake or some, they said that they're trying to build craft right now, Mike, aren't they? That can literally fend off radiation. That's now for going to deeper space missions to the moon and to Mars. Yeah. Hey, Mike, it's true, Mike. Building stuff now. I think they're trying to build stuff now, aren't they, to fend off radiation? Now, as I say, aren't they? Modern craft that's much stronger against radiation. So, but I don't know how they wonder why they're building ships now to fend off radiation. 1969, be thicker ships to fend off radiation now, when they could do it in 1969. But I mean, the funny thing is, the technology. They said they can't go back to the moon, and they haven't been back since 1972, which is how many years ago? I mean, 53 years ago since they went. Yeah, that's a long time. They haven't been back ever, and they say they can't. They said they couldn't send them back because they lost the technology. Apparently, is what they said. Lost the technology. Hey, Mike, wow, that's amazing. They lost the technology. It's bizarre to lose technology, doesn't it? Lose it all. Technology is bizarre, doesn't it? Like I said, they did it in 1969. But I mean, okay. And the positive point, also the moon. I mean, on the moon landing pictures as well. There's many pictures. It's fascinating. I mean, there are pictures that do look, obviously, some are quite clearly a bit dodgy. There's backgrounds are quite close to the ship, to the landing pod, the LEM. That's interesting. And there's some of the pictures. There's not many. Some of the backgrounds are fairly close to the back a long way. But then people say, on the other hand, the curvature of the moon is much smaller than the curvature of the Earth, so the background would be nearer. The horizon is nearer to the craft. Also, that's people say it was filmed at Area 51, don't they? Obviously, they say Area 51 in America. I suppose in a studio, and of course, there's been many movies. I think was it the Sean Connery movie, the James Bond, the one before Living That Diamonds Are Forever. I think Diamonds Are Forever. There's a comedy bit where he accidentally stumbles into them filming a fake moon landing set, and that is also.
And I think another film was a 1977 the Gemini movie, all about fake moon landing.
That Peter Hyams movie.
And faking it. So a lot of people were making movies and discussing fakery regarding these things, joking about fakery with these things.
It's only a few years afterwards, wasn't it?
I mean, the fakers believe, don't they, that they went into space, went round, orbited the Earth, the astronauts, and they didn't go to the moon at all, but they went to space, didn't they? But anyway, it's very hard to read into all, isn't it? Okay, I mean, they do say various things. I remember Patrick Moore asked them, after the 1969 moon landing, Patrick Moore, great British scientist, my brother met him actually, a brilliant astronomer scientist, attended the conference in 1969 with Aldrin and the three guys, the original three astronauts, Neil Armstrong and Collins, and they were sat and on the table being interviewed by a huge press gang of people interviewing them, journalists. And I remember Patrick Moore, big lovely guy, great scientist, asking them, "Do you see any stars?" And they said they didn't see the stars. They were just going to baffle it. They went to space, 230,000 miles into
didn't
space.
See any stars.
And, went on the moon and didn't see it. But I mean, on the flip side, of course, is that if you are on the moon's so bright, the surface of the moon is so bright, it does literally obscure. You can't really see the sky, which actually is just black and full of stars on the moon. There's no atmosphere in the moon.
So bright up there, isn't it?
You know, you would.
The moon's
so
bright at the surface.
Unfortunately, you wouldn't. Maybe because of the glare, you wouldn't see any stars. So also, that's an argument that's true. There's also photographs. Because the photographs is big, isn't it? Photographs because they did take regular Kodak. Did they take regular Kodak film to the moon? Just regular Kodak film.
Regular Kodak film, I think, was taken there. Regular Kodak movie, not digital. Regular film. It wasn't digital film. It was regular film. Was taken up there in that kind of temperatures.
Regular Kodak film
in a vacuum as well, didn't it? A total vacuum.
And it was just regular Kodak film, and it literally.
And it worked okay, didn't it?
They used these Zeiss lenses and things built for NASA, by NASA, especially for NASA, weren't they? And they carried them on the chest, didn't they? Went around with them on the chest, cameras on the chest. But again, I mean, a lot of the theorists think that the radiation of the moon and the heat, which is, I think in the daytime, it's 200 degrees Fahrenheit, 130 degrees centigrade in the moon, which is hotter than your oven on the moon all the time in the day, in the sunshine which you're walking in. It was very, very, very hot. I mean, absolutely meltingly hot. I'm above boiling hot on the moon. But then there's no atmosphere there, is there? It didn't melt the Kodak film, did it? But they still must take Kodak pictures. That's an interesting one, isn't it? That's the funny one. There's even a picture of one of the astronauts left a Kodak photograph on the surface of the moon, isn't it? And that surface,
he did.
Degrees centigrade. And the picture doesn't melt. It's weird.
It didn't melt, did it?
It's an interesting anomaly, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of discussions about it. Also, the running that car around at 130 degrees centigrade. Would that be able to survive that car and that constant temperatures? When you can't really run a big car, 130 degrees centigrade on planet Earth, can you?
And the tyres.
It would stop working, wouldn't it? But anyway, they managed to run the car around the surface of the moon, didn't they? In 1972, was it?
The tyres did okay
anyway,
at temperatures.
The list goes on with questions. Interesting. We know SpaceX, certainly. I mean, on the positive side, SpaceX has been back. China's been back. Chinese have sent robots there. SpaceX has been back. No humans have been back at all since 1972.
No humans.
The Russians failed to do it. I know some of the Russians have questioned whether it ever happened. The other thing, of course, is that the one thing that's fascinating about the moon mission is, as I say, is that China sent probes, isn't it, photograph the surface of the moon, and they apparently have got evidence of the landing sites where the LEMs landed in 1972. Also, they've got the evidence of those things, and so that's evidence, prove it happened. And again, the people
that is evidence,
truly evidence from Earth off the mirrors that are left on the moon in 69-72. So again, that's very true. So those things will prove it's real. Other people think it's still all fake, regardless of that. There's the flat earthers, and these people still believe. Some people don't believe space exists anymore, don't they? They believe it's flat Earth, don't they? They think they're flat earthers. They believe the Earth's flat. They think the space doesn't exist at all, don't they? These guys, don't they? But it does. I agree with everyone else. I think that the space does exist and the moon does exist. You can't say. I mean, I think the
idea of flat Earth's
absurd, and the space doesn't exist. It does exist, and the Earth is not flat. And I think these are crazy ideas. But also, in the same sense, these kind of people do tend to believe that it's all. Even the latest SpaceX evidence of SpaceX, when Elon Musk craft went up there on the moon, again, they still think some of that's fake, don't they? The images of landing sites,
still think that's fake,
from 69. they still think that is still fake, even though it is obvious. I mean, there is evidence that it's there, it's real. So yeah, I believe it happened. It's got to happen. I mean, I think it happened. It's very, very extraordinary. Eventually, of course, the more missions and when humans do get back to the moon again, will be more evidence to prove it happened. So it's only a matter of time with it to prove it. Just really a matter of time, Mike. Get humans back to the original landing sites, and then they'll prove it. But until then, there'll always be discussions and chats. But certainly, it's a matter of time before they prove it. There does need to be more. I think really the bottom line is, and hopefully, I think SpaceX and the budget it's on is fantastic to do these amazing SpaceX missions with NASA too.
Love SpaceX
robots. Hey Mike,
love it.
The robots back up there.
Love it.
On the moon surface,
robots, fantastic.
And it's fantastic. This technology, this new technology, the SpaceX, Elon Musk's technology, getting on the moon, it's fantastic, isn't it? To do this, wonderful humans.
stuff.
And hopefully, we will get humans back there again, and hopefully, hey Mike, and hopefully,
sending them back would be great.
Prove the naysayers, won't it? Prove that the non-believers really.
So
but
send the humans back there.
Certainly, until humans go back to the moon, there will still be arguments. But when you get humans back to the moon, don't we? As I say, definitely about it. Yeah, it's really good. Okay, hope you enjoyed this.
Stop the arguments and send them humans back there.
We can discuss moon conspiracy for a long, long time. As I say, I think it happened.
As magicians,
okay. Leave a comments below what you think. If it didn't happen, let me know. If you think it happened, let me know. But I'm not going to say either way around. It's just a discussion. This is just a harmless,
just a chat, just entertainment chat
discussion. That's all this is. It's not.
That's all it is.
Anything. It's just what it is, and it's interesting.
Definitely
what you can do, but certainly the human mind, of course, itself. I mean, can be affected by trickery, art, illusion. And I suppose that's one of the things about human mind. We are subject to magic, illusions, trickery, and we can be deceived by trickery and believe things. And certainly some things that it makes you raise questions about things, doesn't it? Say. Also, of course, other things, other big chats. Of course, you could chat about anything from mysterious, weird things like who shot JFK. Anyway, there's many things.
Yeah,
they've released lots of data on JFK recently. Again, we still don't really know. Anyway, that's really
still don't know about that.
For now, a lovely video. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. We'll probably do another video looking at a couple of double-head chat about magician's eyes on mysterious mysteries, guys, through the eyes of
the eyes of magic,
the eyes of the magician on mysteries of the world. Okay, hope you enjoyed it, guys. Remember to subscribe, please, guys, like and subscribe, share the videos to friends. More sharing, more caring, Mike. Yeah.
More sharing, more shares, more care.
Share the videos. See you soon then. Bye from hi to my friends around the world, seriously. And check out my next video for more magic and illusion, guys, on my channel. More magic, tricks, illusions on my channel. Please do, guys. I made 600 videos and 1 million views. Share the videos, guys. Love you all. Please like, subscribe. Bye from
me.
Love
Bye
you all,
from me
guys.
over
See
here.
you soon and bye for now.
Bye for now.